The standard form of the equation of a circle is x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared is equal to r squared. When we have a circle written in the standard form, we can simply extract the center as the ordered pair hk and the radius as the value of r straight from the equation. But a circle can also be written in what we call the general form. Essentially, we would get the general form when the standard form is multiplied out. We need to be able to look at an equation in the general form and recognize it as being a circle. And some of the identifying characteristics are that we have both an x squared and a y squared term present, but as well, the coefficient on the x squared term and the coefficient on the y squared term are exactly the same. If all of that is true, then this would be the general form of the equation of a circle, but in order to find the center and the radius, we would need to alter its form to get it into the standard form. So let's take a look at how we would do that. Here we have in our first example, the equation of a circle written in the general form. We know that this is a circle because we have both an x squared and a y squared term present in the equation, and the coefficient on those x squared and y squared terms are exactly the same. In this case, they both have a coefficient of positive 1. And that's what tells us that this equation written in the general form is going to give us the graph of a circle. Now, in order to write this in standard form, we're going to use a process that we've seen before. We're going to complete the square on both the x terms and the y terms to create perfect square trinomials that factor beautifully into binomials squared. So let's begin. The first thing that we'll do is we will add the constant term to the other side, essentially just moving it out of the way so that we have plenty of space for completing the square. Then we're going to get our x terms together, so we'll have x squared minus 2x, and then we're going to leave a little space here for the quantity that will complete the square for our x terms, and then we'll add to that the y terms, so we'll say y squared minus 4y. Again, we want to leave a little space here for the quantity that's going to complete the square for the y terms, and then what we're equal to is the 4 that remains on the right-hand side. Let's recall again that the values that complete the square for trinomials, we have in a previous video referred to this quantity as the magic number, and that magic number can be determined by taking the b coefficient, dividing it by 2, and then squaring that quantity. So for our x trinomial, we'll look at the b coefficient, which is negative 2. We'll divide that by 2 and square that quantity. So this is going to give us negative 1 quantity squared, which is positive 1. So that's the magic number that gets added into the x terms to complete the square. But remember, anytime we add something to one side of an equation, we have to add that exact same quantity to the other side. And in order to find the constant that completes the square for the y terms, we take the b coefficient, which is negative 4, divide that quantity by 2, and square it to get negative 2 quantity squared, which is positive 4. So we'll add a 4 in here to complete the square, but we also have to add a 4 to the other side to maintain the balance of the equation. Since we now have a perfect square trinomial in x, this is going to factor perfectly into a binomial squared, which is x minus 1. And to that we're going to add this perfect square trinomial in its factored form, which is going to be a binomial squared, y minus 2. And all these values on the right are going to total to be 9. So essentially all we had to do was completing the square step in order to get the general form of the equation of a circle into the standard form. And once our equation is in the standard form, then we can extract the values of the center and the radius. The x-coordinate of the center is going to be the opposite of what we see inside here, or positive 1. The y-coordinate of the center is going to be the opposite of what we see inside here, or positive 2. And since this quantity over here on the far right is the radius squared, that means our radius quantity is going to be the square root of that number, or just 3. So now that we've found the center and the radius, we can graph the circle and label it with 4 ordered pairs on the outside of the circle. The center is situated at the ordered pair 1, 2, and with the radius of 3, we're going to go 3 units up to land at the ordered pair 1, 5, 3 units down to land at the ordered pair 1, negative 1, 3 units to the right to land at the ordered pair 4, 2, and 3 units to the left to land at the ordered pair negative 2, 2. Again, we do our best to connect those dots. And this is now the graph of our circle. In order to check our graph, let's grab one of these ordered pairs on the outside of the circle, and I usually try to go for small positive numbers. And we'll plug that back into the original equation for x and y to see if it's an ordered pair solution. So we're going to plug 1 in for every x value and 5 in for every y value. So we have 1 squared plus 5 squared minus 2 times 1 minus 4 times 5 minus 4, which is going to give us 1 plus 25 minus 2 minus 20 minus 4. And these all do add to 0. This is positive 26, this is negative 26. So we end up with 0 is equal to 0, which means that this is an ordered pair solution, and therefore a point on the graph. So that's enough to convince me that our circle is correct. Let's do this again for part B. What we have is a circle in the general form because we have both an x and a y squared term present in the equation, and both of those terms have the same coefficient of positive 1. In order to write this equation in the standard form, we're going to get our x terms together and then leave a little space for the magic number that's going to complete the square. But the only y term that we have is y squared. We don't have a y to the first power term. We'll see what that means in just a moment. And again, we're going to subtract the constant to the other side of the equation, essentially just to get it out of the way so that we can complete the square with the variable terms. Remember, here we're looking for something that we refer to as the magic number, or the constant that can be added in to create a perfect square trinomial, and that quantity can be obtained by looking at the b coefficient, dividing it by 2, and then squaring the entire quantity. The b coefficient is positive 6, so we have 6 divided by 2 quantity squared, which is 3 squared, which is 9. So we'll add 9 into the x terms to create a perfect square trinomial, and of course we have to also add 9 to the other side to maintain the balance of the equation. So what we have now created is a perfect square trinomial that factors into a binomial squared, which is going to be x plus 3 quantity squared. Now again, notice we didn't have a y to the first power term. So when that's the case, we just write down our y squared, and what's going to end up happening is that the y coordinate of our center is just going to end up being 0. And then on the right-hand side, we have negative 1 plus 9, which is positive 8. Now we have the equation of our circle written in the standard form, so we can extract the center and the radius from it. Remember, the x-coordinate of the center is going to be the opposite of what we see inside here, so negative 3. And y squared is the same thing as y minus 0 squared, which tells us that 0 is the y-coordinate of the center. Now remember, this quantity here is the radius squared. So if our radius squared is equal to 8, then the radius is going to be equal to the square root of 8, which is the same thing as 2 square roots of 2. To take that a little slower, we could say that that was the square root of 4 times 2. The 4 comes out of the radical as a 2, but the other 2 needs to stay under. So the square root of 8, written in its simplest form, is 2 rad 2s, and that's the radius of this circle. So now to graph the circle, we'll begin by plotting the center, which is located at negative 3, 0. And we have an unusual radius. It's 2 rad 2s, which is approximately equal to 2.8. And while we are not interested in an approximate value, we do need to know that it's a little bit less than 3 units away from the center. That'll help us count up, down, left, and right from our center point. So we'll say 1, 2, almost 3 units away from the center, not quite 3, is going to be an ordered pair on the outside of the circle. This ordered pair is going to have an x-coordinate that is negative 3, but the y-coordinate is going to be 2 rad 2 units above that center point, so the y-coordinate is just 2 rad 2s. We can do the same thing going down, so we'll go 1, 2, almost 3 units below the center value, which is going to give us an ordered pair on the outside of the circle with an x-coordinate of negative 3 and a y-coordinate of negative 2 radical 2s. Now, in order to go right and left, let's take a closer look here. Again, we're going to go 1, 2, almost 3 units to the right, but this time we know that the y-coordinate is going to be 0, but the x-coordinate is going to be that we started at -3, but then we added 2 rad 2's to that quantity to get the x-coordinate that started at -3, but we had to add 2 radical 2's to determine where it landed. So this x-coordinate is terrible, but it's an exact value, which is better than a rounded off approximation for that quantity. So let's do the same thing to get the point to the left of the center. We're going to go 1, 2, almost 3 units to the left, and the x-coordinate of this ordered pair is going to be starting at -3, but then subtracting 2 rad 2's from that x value to get the x-coordinate of this ordered pair, and the y-coordinate didn't change. The y-coordinate is still located at 0. So now we try to connect those outside ordered pairs with the circle, which represents the graph of this equation that was written in the general form.